Are the Patriots finally on a rebuild? And a quarterback that's on the trade block, where will he go? That's a good question right after this.
The package, what I really mean to say is, ain't no offseason.
And welcome back. Glad to have you. Welcome to No Offseason Media. Well, something very interesting to talk about. The Patriots, I believe, are finally in a rebuild. After a 2-4 start after they lost their game against San Francisco 49ers, now there's some potential talks about Stephon Gilmore potentially getting traded. We just got received news that potentially Stephon Gilmore is not playing against the Buffalo Bills due to an injury, which came out of nowhere. But that's something very interesting to talk about. The Patriots, I am finally happy as a Patriot fan. I mean, I've been calling it, thinking about it. I mean, if you're my close friend, you know I've been talking about it as far as I've been wanting the Patriots to be on a rebuild because I want these new quarterbacks that are coming out. Just something very interesting to take a look into. You know, as I said, you guys know who I am. You guys know I am. I wanted Brady gone years ago, which I'm glad he's gone. And, you know, we'll talk about Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers later on in this video. But something interesting to talk about, I think that Bill Belichick has a plan here. Let's go get a Justin Fields from Ohio State or Trey Lance from North Dakota State. They're out of the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, so we can just cancel that out right there. But I like how the direction the Patriots are heading in. Same thing what Miami did last year. Tank for Tua. Then I would say tank for Justin or tank for Trey. But I like how the direction they're going in as far as what's happening post Brady. I don't like Cam Newton, how the way he's been playing, even though he's been putting out all these tweets and all these posts that he's going to play better the next game, but he has significantly declined. Here's some stats so you can know how Cam Newton has been playing for the last couple games. Not great. Not great at all. So I love Cam, but he's not fit to be in New England. I think he can go to another team after this year, and I know what team he should go to, and that's obviously Washington. And the reason why I say Washington is because of this reason. Obviously, we know that Dwayne Haskins is going to get traded. And everybody's wondering if Ron Rivera decides to pull the plug, what team will Dwayne Haskins go to? And what I have to say as far as that, I think he's going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's my reasons why I think he can go to Jacksonville Jaguars. Number one, Gardner Minshew is obviously injured. Mike Glennon has not played, actually started a game since, 2017? So that's the number one. Number two, Dwayne Haskins was drafted by Washington, and who was their coach? Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden, the brother of John Gruden. What team is he the offensive coordinator for? Jacksonville. So he knows this. Even though Dan Snyder's, picked him in the draft, he still knows who Dwayne Haskins is. And Jacksonville's also in a rebuild. So, they might take a quarterback. They may not. They may like, Haskins. They may not. So that's something interesting to account for as far as the Jags. Number three, obviously Dwayne Haskins needs a complimentary running game to be successful, and number one wide receiver. Who's the number one wide receiver? DJ Chark from LSU. Who's their running back? James Robinson. He came out of Rockford, Illinois. Great running back. Obviously, he went undrafted, but he's a great running back. That's what helps Dwayne Haskins so much alleviate the pressure off him. What happened with Washington when he was there? Adrian Peterson get a couple yards here and there. Darius Guice came in late in the season. And that when Darius Guice started running the football a lot, that's when Dwayne Haskins started playing better. So that's why I think Dwayne Haskins should eventually get traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars, because obviously they're in a rebuild. The coach knows him, and he's only good when he has a great running game and a number one wide receiver on the team. And you saw that connection with Terry McLaurin and Dwayne Haskins. It was great. Same thing I think the same thing going to happen with DJ Chark and Dwayne Haskins. But let's get started on these Week 8 picks, game and spread picks. I am actually on the spread picks 54-51, and on my game picks I am 72-32, and that one tie. Thank you, Eagles. But Let's start it. We have the New England Patriots, who I believe is in a rebuild, as I said earlier in the video, and against their rivals, the Buffalo Bills. And the question I want to ask myself is, are Josh Allen the Buffalo Bills the new face of the AFC East? Well, this year they are. There's no telling what the Jets are doing. We know that. There's no telling what the Jets are doing. And then also, Miami has Tua, and then New England, we don't know what they're going to do next season. And there's Buffalo. But the thing is, with Buffalo, the team is as far as Josh Allen can take them. And the thing is about Josh Allen, he's very inaccurate. And we don't know what's happening with Tua because we don't know if he's injury prone. We don't know how the team will do successfully wise. So it's something very interesting to account for. Now, I do have the line up here, but just something to take account for. Cam Newton has not played significantly well against great defenses. The Buffalo Bills have a great defense. It's just something to take account for. Now, New England hasn't lost to Buffalo I think, since 2011. I think the Buffalo Bills are just going to win this game outright. I think they just win, even though the line says 3.5. I think the Bills will obviously cover that spread because I don't trust the Patriots whatsoever. I think they're rebuilding, and I think they're going to trade Stephon Gilmore by the end of the end of the week before the trade deadline, which is on Tuesday. So let's just take account for. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to win 24-13. I just don't like this New England Patriot group. Nobody on this roster except for Gilmore and McCourty looks like a starter. So I have the Bills winning by 11. All right, we have the Tennessee Titans against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Bengals did play a great game against Cleveland and lost. And the Tennessee Titans, they also played a great game against the Steelers in the second half and missed a game-tying field goal, and it was all she wrote from there. But something I could take off, can the Bengals actually hold off the Titans' rushing attack after the devastating loss? And I'm going to say probably not, because the Titans, they like to run the ball, and the Bengals can't stop the run. We saw when they play against Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So it hasn't been significantly well for the Bengals, and they're obviously, they like, what do Tennessee Titans like doing better? They like to play action pass and run the ball. So even though the line here says that Tennessee is favored by 5.5, I'm actually going to take Tennessee to cover that spread because I just do not trust the Bengals defense whatsoever. And I'm actually going to take the Titans to win by 7, 27-20. Titans win after that heartbreaking loss to Pittsburgh. I think what helps the Bengals get 20 points is because of their third down defense of the Tennessee Titans. All right, Browns against the Raiders. And in this game, should the Browns be on upset alert? That's a good question. Yes, they should be, and I'm going to tell you why. The Browns do this all the time. Whenever they beat the Cincinnati Bengals or beat an inferior team, they always say, look at all the doubters. We're better than what you doubt us to be, but it's Cincinnati. They're not a very good team. They did the same thing when they played Miami. You played Miami that was rebuilding. And Baker Mayfield at the end of the game was dancing all crazy in the locker room because he beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
Give me a little drip. Give me a little drip. Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Now, I want you to do that when you play the Ravens and the Steelers. Because you played the Ravens and they beat you pretty handily by 32 points. You played the Steelers and they beat you handily by 31 points. So here's my thing. When the Browns get cocky, that's where you just have to bounce off the Browns. Even though the line here says the Browns are minus 2.5 right here, I'm actually going to take the Raiders to cover. And I'm actually going to take the Raiders to win this game 27-23. Because I do not trust the Browns whatsoever. Odell Beckham Jr. is out. You're going to run the ball, even though the Raiders are not so good on passing. They're good on rushing, but not so good on passing. Only the time they're not good on rushing was they played New England early in the season. So who knows? But let's go to a better game of the schedule, which is something very interesting because bettors, including game pickers, are very kind of undecided with this game. We have the Indianapolis Colts at the Detroit Lions. Now, the thing is about this game is that Matthew Stafford came off of a win, but who they beat? The Falcons. Congratulations. Gotta give them a little clap for the Falcons. Yay, because the Falcons always blow leads, even though they beat the Carolina Panthers on Thursday. Just something interesting to count in for. Will Stafford have to make another fourth quarter comeback to win this game. Probably have to, because the defense is completely shot of the Detroit Lions, even though they held Atlanta to 22 points the last time they played. But just something very interesting. And the Colts are coming off a bye. So what happened with the Colts before they came off that bye? They let the Bengals score 21 unanswered points. And it was 21-0. Then the Colts came back. Just something interesting to take account in for. But the Colts obviously have a great head coach in Frank Wright. And obviously Phillip Rivers. But the thing about Phillip Rivers is that he turned over the ball a lot. The last time Phillip Rivers played the Detroit Lions was actually, correct me if I'm wrong, last year. He went to Detroit and they only scored 10 points. And they lost to the Detroit Lions 10-13 on week 2 of 2019. I'm actually going to take, the line here says Indianapolis -2.5. I'm actually going to go on the flip side and take Detroit +2.5. Just something. I think they just win it by field goal. I think Matt Stafford comes back and had the little fourth quarter comeback, or Phillip Rivers throws a heartbreaking interception. That's just what he does. And I'm actually going to take Detroit to win outright 23-20. Let's go to a divisional matchup game here. We have the Minnesota Vikings against the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers put up a lot of points actually on the Houston Texans. And now they're coming home to play the Minnesota Vikings, who are coming off their bye after losing a heartbreaker to Atlanta. Just a question I keep asking myself, are the Vikings in a quarterback sweepstake? And what I mean by that is, are they officially going to move off Kirk Cousins? And that's a very good question, because they signed him for a two-year extension, which everybody said it's okay because you guys got to the playoffs and obviously you got to recompensate Kirk Cousins. I think they're done, but it's not necessarily on Kirk Cousins. It's because of, well, one reason. You got rid of Stephon Diggs. Kirk Cousins has not played well in primetime. We know that. They should have beaten the Seattle Seahawks. They didn't. They lost by 1, 26-27. But then yet again, he's not so good in his career against the Falcons. And that could be because it's the Falcons. I mean, he got one win like last year against the Falcons. But then you have to account in for what was that Falcons team, and they weren't good to start the season. So it's just something very interesting to take account in for. Now, the Packers playing absolutely phenomenal, except for that one stinker against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I think they are a Super Bowl contender. Now, if they could do is in a trade, they could take one of these receivers off one of these teams. Potentially, I'm hearing some Will Fuller news about that. I am also hearing some Amari Cooper trades. I don't know about that one. But a good one that I can see happen is Golden Tate. The reason why I want to trust Amari Cooper and Will Fuller is one reason on both sides. Will Fuller is he's not available. Let's just be real. He's injury prone. He always has some hamstring injuries or whatnot. And then also for Amari Cooper, he kind of disappears in big games, and that's not really going to help Rodgers if, let's say, Devontae Adams is out and they need Amari Cooper to step up and he's not able to do it. So just take account for it. But Golden Tate, he's a slot guy. He's a guy who can also be a deep threat. He's, not saying, yeah, you can say that. That's just RB knife. But he'd be great in Green Bay because he was great with Matthew Stafford. And obviously Green Bay knows him because they played him a lot of times over the past couple of years. So I think, and then from the Giants' perspective, they already have a Golden Tate in Sterling Shepard. So just something to take a stab at. But, you got to take a look at counting for. But Golden Tate would be great for the Packers. And I think if they could trade for him by the trade deadline, it will really help Aaron Rodgers. And plus, he has a couple more years left on his deal. I think it's like 2 more years after this year on his deal. He signed a 4-year contract back in 2019. But let's get on to this game. The Packers are favored by 6.5. Let's see. I'm actually going to take the Packers -6.5. I'm going to take the Packers to win outright 31-17 over the Vikings. Just don't trust the Vikings defense whatsoever after the loss of Anthony Barr. And now they lost Unique Ngakoue. I don't know what to make of this Vikings team defensively. So That's all I can say about it. But here's another game here. Ooh, this is something very interesting. Not really very interesting. This is just the butt kicking of the week, in my opinion. We have the New York Jets traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I call this the Le'Veon Bell revenge game because he's going to prove to Adam Gase that, hey, you had me and you didn't know how to use me. So guess what? I'm going to run all over your defense. I'm going to pass catch all over your defense. And I think that's what's going to happen in this game. And, that's just the Jets defense. But here's the major question. Even though it's a revenge game for Le'Veon, let's ask ourselves this question. Let's take kind of a, you're the Jets GM. Would you trade away Sam Darnold away for Trevor Lawrence? Or would you keep Sam Darnold, trade the number 1 pick, and trade back and get as much pieces to help Sam Darnold on the Jets? Obviously, you're going to fire Adam Gase. Okay, this just can't count for it. But you're the GM. Would you trade Darnold to a team and get Trevor Lawrence? Or would you keep Darnold and trade the number 1 pick and get a boatload of draft picks? Because you already have 2 from Jamal Adams trade. So just think about it. It's something to very think about if you're the GM. But what I would do, he has not had a lot to work with, and that's just something very interesting. Just Sam Darnold in general. And they have not built the team around him. So for Sam Darnold's sake, I would move him. And what team I will move him to is actually pretty interesting, is the Colts. I will move him to the Colts. Possibility, maybe to the Vikings. Kirk Cousins' contract, just saying, maybe to the Vikings. And it pains me to say this because let's say New England is far out of the number 1 sweepstake or get one of the quarterbacks. What if you trade him to New England? Something interesting to think about. It's very interesting. So, I mean, if I had to trade Sam Darnold, I would trade him to the Colts, the Vikings, maybe even the Saints. Interesting. You can go anywhere. Because Drew Brees, you don't know what's going to happen with Drew Brees. Drew Brees didn't come back next year. Or maybe even New England. Just something interesting to take accounting for. But I think the line on this is so funny. The Jets are 19.5 underdogs, and that's funny. And I'm actually going to take the Chiefs to beat them outright. Oh, 19.5 underdogs. Adam Gase got to go, man. I'm sorry. He got to go. But I'm actually going to take the Jets to lose this game, obviously. And Kansas City beats them by 24. Let's say 16-40. I think they put 4. Man, no. Can they hit 50? That's a good question. The Jets. Can they hit 50 on the Jets? I don't know. I'm gonna keep it at 40-16. It's the Jets, the butt fumble. That's what they are. But here we go. Next game, actually a little bit more interesting than watching the Jets play. We have the Rams traveling down to Miami. And it's finally Tua time, which is great. And now we have, how will Tua do over his career in Miami, and including his first start? And that's something very interesting to take account in for. I think his first start, I think he'll be phenomenal if you take account in for how great he will be. But let's just say that Tua plays, let's say he has a 74 or 70% completion percentage. Let's just say that. And then let's also say that he has 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns and an interception. Is that good for his first career start? Yeah. Now, if Tua has 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, I would kind of freak out a little bit. But I'm not a Dolphins fan, so I don't know how Dolphins fans feel because they haven't had a franchise quarterback since Dan Marino. But I think this is finally Tua time, even though I had my own little rant last week about how would you take Ryan Fitzpatrick out after you're 3-3. You got to take account for what you have to work with. At least you know now what Tua is. Let's figure out what Tua is. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Maybe if he gets injured again, you kind of have some questions to think about. But I think he'll have a great career in Miami. Maybe he's a franchise quarterback, not the Ryan Tannehills of the world. But maybe he can be a franchise quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Rams, they had a great Monday Night Football game against the Chicago Bears, had a great takedown Nick Foles, but, you had to travel all the way down to Miami. And that's a pretty far plane ride. I think it's like, 6-hour plane ride or whatever? Well, private jet may be different. But that's something very interesting to think about. But the line here says Rams -3.5. I'm going to take the Dolphins +3.5 here. And I'm going to tell you why. And the thing is, the Rams don't have anything to go off on Tua. They have to review tape from Alabama. And that is really hard to take accounted for what you have to get ready for this team. Now, and think about this. And let me ask you this question. I'm going to just roll back here. You remember the Super Bowl here? The Super Bowl right here. Who was the defensive coordinator for that Super Bowl for the Patriots? Brian Flores. How many points did he hold the Rams to? 3 points. That's something interesting, and he know how to get to Jared Goff and stop the run game. What do the Rams love to do? Run the ball, play action passes. Just something interesting to take account for. And even though the Rams are favored by 3.5, I'm going to take Miami because of that particular reason. Brian Flores, Super Bowl 53, and held Jared Goff and their high-flying Rams offense to 3 points. And he knows how to, mismatch on Sean McVay. So, something that you can take account for, but I'm actually going to take the Dolphins +3.5. And I'm sticking with that, but I think the Rams squeak it out and they win by 2. I'm going to take the Rams to win 26-24 in Tua's first NFL start. Could win the game, but I'm going to go on the safe side and take the Rams. Okay. We have a battle in the AFC North. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers playing against the Baltimore Ravens. And this game is very interesting to talk about. Who wins the AFC North? We could take Cincinnati out, and we could take Cleveland out. Who's going to win the AFC North? And in my opinion, I think it's going to be the Steelers. I don't see many L's on their schedule. I don't. And from what my revised Super Bowl pick is, Steelers are one of them, and the Seahawks are the other. But you have to take a look into this. Look at the Steelers schedule and look at the Ravens schedule. I don't see many L's for the Steelers, and I see a couple for the Ravens. And I think it could be because of strength of schedule for the Steelers. Something interesting to take account for. But who I have win this game could catapult what's going to happen in this division. But even though the Ravens are favored by 3.5, I'm going to take the Steelers +3.5. And the half is what's getting me, is because it's 3.5. And I'm actually going to take the Ravens to win. Even though the Ravens run the ball a lot and the Steelers are good against the run, it depends what Lamar Jackson does with his legs. And the Steelers have struggled against mobile quarterbacks. They have struggled against Deshaun Watson. Think about it. And then they have, Ryan Tannehill's mobile, so there you go. Just something interesting to think about. So I'm actually, the hook is where the 5.5 is the half. So I'm actually going to take the Ravens to win 20-17. Field goal game. I think they win by a Justin Tucker field goal. Very low scoring, very defensive battle, very lot of bad blood here. But it's going to be a great game overall. Great game on CBS by Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. But great game. All right, let's move on to the next. All right, we have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Denver Broncos. And in this game, it's a battle of the young quarterbacks in Mile High young QBs. That's the way I would call it. But let's just think about this. Will Herbert have a better career? I know it's kind of young, but we have to make these predictions here. Will Herbert have a better career than Burrow and Tua? The teams that have selected those two, probably not. I mean, think about it. Let's realize the obstacles in their way. Let's realize this. The Bengals have to deal with the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Browns. I'm sorry, it was gagging. The Browns. Those are the teams in their way. I think they can get past the Browns. The Bengals can, but let's just take accounting for what they have to get past. What do the Dolphins have to get past? Take the Jets out. Okay? Who do they have left? Buffalo, New England. Okay? The Chargers. What do they have? Okay. Kansas City and Mahomes. There you go. That's one. Raiders. Depends how John Gruden plays and what happens with Derek Carr. Okay? The Broncos. Injuries. I don't trust John Elway. And then you have Vic Fangio. Yeah, they're below the Chargers. So, who has more obstacles? Okay, Burrow has more obstacles. Who has the least obstacles? I think it's Herbert, because obviously the Chargers have like a really good roster. What's the problem? They keep getting injured all the time. So, I think Herbert could have a better career than Tua. But if you want to go by rings, I don't know what quarterback to pick, because I'm not psychic. But if I had to make a prediction, I think it's going to be Herbert. Just because the league is changing. If you're a pocket guy, those are being obsolete. You have to be able to move the pocket and, throw off the run. That Herbert has shown that. Burrow has shown that, and so has Tua. But it's just something about the Chargers with their roster and their defense is what's going to help Justin Herbert. But this game here, let's talk about this game. The Chargers are favored by 2.5. I am very tempted to take the Broncos, because the Broncos have beaten the Chargers the last couple of times in Denver. The only time they haven't beaten them was back in 2018. But I'm actually going to take the Chargers to win. I do not trust Drew Lock whatsoever. I know my Bronco fan friend is going to say, we're injured. So why you're going to take the Chargers? Because we're injured. And the Chargers are not good in Denver. Yes, I know that. I know. But you have to think about, I do not trust Drew Lock whatsoever. He did not look good against New England. He did not look good against Tennessee. He did not even look good against Kansas City's defense, who even people in the media believe that it's not a very good defense. Just something to take count in for. So just think about it. But I'm actually going to take the Chargers minus 2.5, because that's what I do. And I'm going to take the Chargers to win 27-23. Something a little bit more closer. But I'm not, with that Denver defense, I know has played significantly awful at the end at the beginning of the year and has gotten picked up better. Who has a Denver defense played against? Think about it. The Jets, yawn. The Patriots, even I believe they're in a rebuild. And then you let Kansas City score a whole boatload of points on you. So just think that's scoring defense. So just think about it. But I'm over Broncos. I'm over the Chargers. You had to take the Chargers there. That's just what I would do. All right, so next game, we have the New Orleans Saints playing against the Chicago Bears. And here's a good question for both teams. Which one of these teams do I think can challenge one of the best teams in the NFC? Whether that's Seattle or Green Bay or even Tampa. Which one can challenge one of those teams? And in my opinion, it's going to have to be the Saints. Why? I don't trust Nick Foles and this Bears offense whatsoever. We saw him play against the Rams. They did not play particularly well. We know that. Also, the Saints beat the Buccaneers earlier in the season. So obviously they have that one win against them. Now they play next week. We'll see how the Saints match up in that game. And against the Packers, I think the Saints can match up with the Packers. Even though they lost by 7 against the Packers back in week 3, I think it's because they didn't have Michael Thomas, and that kind of, mess up the chemistry of the Saints. So I think the Saints can match up with all 3 of those teams. But let's talk about this game. As I said, it's offense versus defense. And in this game, it's looking good for the Saints because Michael Thomas is back at practice. I don't think he plays in this game, but the Saints have beaten the Bears the last couple of times. I don't think they have the season series over them. I have to take a look into that. But I don't trust the Bears whatsoever, and I just said earlier that they lost to the Rams, and offensively they're not well, and defensively they're great. The offense is really what's going to have to pick it up. About the Saints' defense, though, they do like to generate a lot of yards penalty-wise, so that's something to think about. But in this game, the New Orleans Saints are favored by 2.5. Everybody's deciding on which one to pick. I'm actually going to take the Saints minus 2.5. And the reason why is because Teddy Bridgewater did come over there and beat them and put as many points as he did on that Chicago defense. What do you think Drew Brees is going to do with Emmanuel Sanders? Is something interesting to take a look into. And so now I am very tempted to take the Saints minus 2.5, and I'm going to take the Saints to win by 9 and win 26-17. I love the Saints. This is Drew Brees' last year. Why not try to end it with him winning a ring? But we won't know. We'll never know. But let's go to a divisional matchup in the Northwest. And we got the San Francisco 49ers, who beat the brakes off my New England Patriots 33-6, which I'm actually pretty happy about because now hopefully we're officially taking, against Seattle Seahawks, who had a devastating overtime loss to the Arizona Cardinals. And just, can Russ continue his MVP-like performance after throwing 3 interceptions in one game? The answer to that is yes, I think he can. It kind of has gotten very, very narrow with who's the MVP now, because it's a three-player race now. It's Rodgers, Brady, and Russ. And I think Russ can win it all. I think win the MVP, even though he didn't get no votes last year, because obviously Lamar Jackson took it from him. But in this game, I like Seattle. I think what happens is everybody's very tempted to take the Niners plus 3.5. I'm taking Seattle minus 3.5 because here's my prediction, and I say this all the time. If you lose humiliated on national TV or lose a game that you shouldn't have lost on national TV, especially these night games, you're going to bounce back the next week. And I don't like the 49ers at all right now. Even with all those injuries, I get it. They're getting better. But let's not forget, a couple weeks ago, they got their you-know-whats handed to them by the Miami Dolphins. And then they ran the ball all over New England and the Rams. New England's not really a Super Bowl contender, and the Rams, they always struggle against the 49ers. So we already know that. But I don't think the 49ers can do particularly well in this game because, think about it, the Seahawks are good against the run, not the pass. And Jamal Adams is coming back. What's the problem with the Niners? They can run the ball, but who stops them from winning games? Jimmy Garoppolo with interceptions. So just something to take account in for, But I'm actually going to take Seattle minus 3.5 here. And I'm taking Seattle to win by 6, 33-21, and beat the 49ers. And Russ gets back on his MVP-like performance this year. We have another divisional matchup that's not too exciting, but it's on prime time. We have the Dallas Cowboys, who are stripped to their third-string quarterback, going against the Philadelphia Eagles. And in this game, I don't know what to make of this game. I really don't. I don't know what Ben DiNucci is. I don't know anything that's going to happen with him. But if you're a Cowboy fan, I'm going to talk to Cowboy fans. Aren't you kind of rooting against your team right now? I know you guys love the Cowboys, but can't you kind of root against your team because your team hasn't been playing well and you kind of want to stock up all the drafts and get a great defensive player? Just think about it, Cowboy fans. And then think about this. Ben, don't you want to kind of get Mike McCarthy fired because the locker room has kind of been very toxic, and then also get the defensive coordinator out as well too? Think about it, Cowboy fans. Maybe it may not just be me. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but just ask yourself that question. Do you guys think that you kind of root for the Eagles so Mike McCarthy could potentially get fired? Who knows? And Jerry Jones could be a hothead. But let's not talk about the Cowboys. Let's talk about the Eagles as well too. But here, before I get to the Eagles, let's ask this question: which team will win the NFC East overtime? Now, I can count Dallas out. We can count Dallas out now. I'm going to. It's between Washington and between Philadelphia. And it's going to have to be Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia's to lose. The Giants, please. The Giants ain't going nowhere. Cowboys, too injured. And, thinking about shopping Imari Cooper and some other players as well, too. And Jerry Jones is being a hothead. But let's go back to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, this is for y'all to lose. And I know y'all injured or whatever, but this is for the division for Philadelphia to lose. Even though Carson Wentz is very great, has, Cowboys got stripped to nothing. Ezekiel Elliott, they're half game out of first place. But I have to take Philadelphia here. Even though the line is Philadelphia minus 6.5, this could be the blowout or the butt kicking of the week as well with the Jets. But what could scare me to flip on the other side is Philadelphia's defense. But Philadelphia has great interior linemen, defensive line. So, yeah, I'm going to take Philadelphia as well, too. Yeah, take Philadelphia. I'm going to take Philadelphia minus 6.5. I'm going to take Philadelphia to win and hold the Cowboys to 10. 27-10. That's how much they beat the Cowboys. And, hey, good teams pack it in. 2020 has been all the year. And let's get this over with. We got Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Giants. Now I can officially say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are officially Super Bowl contenders. I know in my past videos I haven't said they are, but I'm going to tell you why. I told you the reason why is because they had too many injuries on offensively. And they trusting Scotty Miller, and Mike Evans has been complaining lately about how the way he should be getting the ball, and now they bring Antonio Brown in. So obviously those injuries are not happening anymore. That's why I said the Bucs were not Super Bowl contenders, because there's too many injuries. They're worrying about the defense, and now the offense starts picking it up, which we have seen when they played the Raiders. Now we're seeing how the way the Bucs are playing. And now Antonio Brown. Now the thing is, what scares me about Antonio Brown is, will he ruin the locker room? And that's something very interesting to think about. Will he ruin the locker room? Will he have a hothead because he only caught 2 balls or 3 or whatever? Will he be mad? I don't know. But the Bucs, they signed him to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal, and we'll just see what happens with that. But that kind of scares me about Tampa Bay. What's going to happen with them? But they're officially my Super Bowl contender. That's the reason why, because there's just too many injuries on the offense with Chris Godwin with a hamstring and Mike Evans not catching a lot of ball, and Antonio Brown. Just wondering how they're going to able to handle all this wide receiver talk and what's going to happen, with Mike Evans and Antonio Brown if they both don't get the ball or whatever. Chris Godwin is a young talent, so I think he'll be fine in the locker room. But this game here against the Giants, they haven't played. They played on the Thursday night last time we saw them against Philadelphia Eagles. Should have won that game, but Evan Ingram had brick hands. So just something interesting to account in for. But I think this game I think the Bucs just going to win this game like really badly. They're going to beat the crap out the Giants. And I don't think they have the Giants can stop the run. That's one thing, but they can't stop the pass. So that's something interesting to take account in for. And I am for my final pick of Week 8. I'm going to take the Bucs minus 10.5 and to beat the Giants handily and beat them 30-13. 13 pity points. Let's get that real. 13 pity points. I think the Giants going to score 6 points. Who knows? But that's what I see it as. But thank you for joining me on No Offseason Media. I enjoyed your company. And I'll be back next week for more coverage of the NFL of Week 9. We got some exciting games. We got the Saints and Bucks on primetime. Then we got the Packers and Niners on primetime on Thursday Night Football. That's going to be a good one to check out. And we got some other good games in there. I'm glad to have you guys here. It's been great. Go over my Week 8 picks and spread picks. Or follow me on social media platforms. On Twitter and Instagram for more content. This is Imari Jackson. And I'm signing out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I will catch you guys later. Peace.